You walk into a restaurant and instantly you remember it's the one he took her to. Or maybe it's the sermon notes mentions adultery and your heart absolutely sinks. Or maybe you scroll past a social media post that mirrors your story and the wave hits terribly. Have you ever been blindsided by a trigger in public? Have you ever wondered, how in the world can I ever get through this? You know, many women face triggers in public. So how can you begin to regain control in that kind of moment and not draw attention to yourself? Well, on today's broadcast, I'm going to tell you how to do just that. So stay tuned. Hey, beautiful. Are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal, trauma, and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Welcome back to the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. You know, being slapped upside of the head, blindsided by a trigger in public, well, it's just not fun. And for many of us, after we have faced betrayal, we find ourselves dealing with just those kinds of things. So today we're going to dive into this being triggered in public and how to regain control in the moment. Because let's be honest, when a wave of panic, fear, or grief hits out of nowhere while you're just trying to maybe get groceries, sit through church service, maybe you're shopping at TJ Maxx, or you're just going down all the aisles in Target, or even watching your child's soccer game, it can feel like you're drowning in emotion with no escape route. And that feels horrible. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening when a trigger hits, and most importantly, I'm going to give you 3 simple yet powerful grounding strategies that you can use to regulate and come back to safety. Yes, beautiful, even in public. Wow, did y'all just hear that? Talk about a lightning strike right by the house. Wow, this is like recording live. So, sis, whoo, that was a trigger. So take a deep breath, sis. You're not alone. And you're not crazy either. You're healing from trauma. And you know what? I'm here to help you do just that. So, let's begin. Let's dive in. Grab your pen and paper. Take some notes, because these are going to be great tools to put inside of your tool belt to use when this takes place. And you notice I didn't say if, because if you've been betrayed, beautiful, it's when, because it's going to happen. So let's begin by defining what a trigger actually is. You know, a trigger is any external stimulus, a sight, sound, smell, phrase, or even a location that reminds your brain and body of the traumatic betrayal that you've experienced. You can be listening to a song on the radio that just triggers you. You can be driving by a billboard. You can be watching television and see a commercial or a television show. You can drive by certain locations, right? Hotels or hospitals or whatever. These can become extremely triggering. And this is your nervous system sounding an alarm. It's basically saying, danger, this feels familiar to when I was deeply hurt. Let's take notice of this. So triggers aren't logical. They're actually neurological. Your brain is trying to protect you, beautiful, but in doing so, it often hijacks the present moment and it pulls you back into that traumatic D-Day experience, back into the pain, back into the shame, back into the fear of the past betrayal. So why is it happening to you in public? I mean, we can understand when you're at home, when you're in your familiar surroundings, things like that. But why do we have to deal with these things in public? Doesn't it seem like it hits out of nowhere? I know it did me. I could be in Target shopping, or I could be in the grocery line. I could be at TJ Maxx waiting to check out wherever. And all of a sudden, I would have those nasty triggers slap me upside the head. And it was miserable. They can show up out of nowhere, anywhere. But they can feel especially intense when you are in a public setting. Why is that? Well, you feel exposed with no safe place to retreat, right? I remember feeling absolute panic in those moments. It felt like everything was closing in. I felt like I needed to throw everything down and just run out of the store, get in my vehicle, bury my head, and just sit there like an ostrich, because that's the only place I felt safe. It feels like you are exposed. You may not have your normal coping tools with you in that moment, right? Or you're trying to keep it together in front of others, even when your insides are screaming at the top of their lungs. This makes it unbearable. So I want to share with you some real life triggers that actually happen to women in public. I want to give you a few examples so that you know possibly that this is happening to you and you can give it a name. You can call it as it is, so to speak. Oh, this is a trigger. So here are a few common examples of public triggers I hear from the women that I coach. You walk into a restaurant and instantly remember it's the one he took her to. Right? Or a sermon mentions adultery and your heart sinks. Maybe you overhear someone joking about cheating and your stomach just gets sick. It starts to flip. Or you catch a whiff of his cologne, the same one he wore during the affair. I know that one far too well. Or maybe you scroll past a social media post that mirrors your story and the wave hits you like a tidal wave. Beautiful, triggers are personal. What sets one woman off might not affect another the same way. But regardless of what it is, the how and how you respond matters most. So I want to equip you today with 3 grounding strategies that you can utilize in public. And you don't have to, bring attention to yourself when you utilize these tools. These are extremely helpful. Write them down. Okay, the first one. So what do you do? First off, what do you do when your heart starts to pound? You're in that line. Your thoughts are racing. You feel like you're spiraling, all while standing in the middle of Target. Right? It's hitting. Do you get it? Do you feel it? Okay, let me tell you first tool to pull out of that tool belt. It is to orient yourself to your surroundings. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. This is a great one to bring yourself back into the present moment. They use this technique with war veterans because war veterans are always snapped back into war. They're snapped back into those traumatic times when they were on the front lines and they were experiencing war right up close and personal, and they were seeing some horrific things. Well, when that trigger takes them back to the past, they need to be regrounded into the present. And one way to do this is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. This actually engages your senses to anchor you in the present moment. So what you're going to do is you're going to look around no matter where you are. You're going to stop. You're going to pause. You're going to look for 5 things that you can see. And I want you to name them under your breath. You can whisper them, or you can just call it out loud inside of your brain. But name the 5 things that you see when you're looking around Target or wherever you are. The next thing I want you to do is touch. Actually, physically reach out, pick up, and touch 4 things. Okay? If you're down an aisle, I literally want you to pick up 4 things. And when you pick it up, I want you to say to yourself, oh, this is a bottle of Tide. This is a toothbrush. This is toothpaste. This is a packet of flossers. Like, name it to yourself, okay? Next, you're going to now say 3 things that you can hear. Again, you can say it underneath your breath, but I want you to stop, pause, and really listen. Listen for the things that you hear. It might be a baby crying, might be a child screaming, it might be a mom saying something, it might be the AC. Whatever it is, 3 things you can hear. The next is 2 things that you can smell. Even if you have to reach over and smell your own clothes, I want you to name 2 things that you can smell. Pick something up, smell it, okay? Then you're going to name 1 thing you can taste. Whether you're drinking that Starbucks coffee, whether you're having a summer skies drink, or your bottled water, or you're chewing a piece of chewing gum, or you just taste your own mouth. It doesn't matter. What is that 1 thing that you can taste? Tell yourself what that is. Now, what I want you to notice is this exercise actually causes you to have to hone in and focus more and more and more with each countdown. With each sense that you invoke, you're having to come more focused. And that's focusing you back into the present. So whisper it silently, or say it in your mind. This pulls your focus out of the emotional flashback, out of that trigger, and into your physical reality. All right, here is your second grounding strategy that you can use in public. Stop, pause, and name the trigger either out loud or underneath your breath. You see, giving language to what's happening actually interrupts the shame and gives you agency. So you can say something like this. This is a trauma response. I'm safe. I'm in Target right now. I'm not back at D-Day. My body is remembering, but I'm okay right now. So it might feel very, very awkward, but it signals to your nervous system that you're no longer in the original danger. You're not back at D-Day. You're actually in control now. And this is what your nervous system needs in order to regulate. Okay, here is your third grounding technique. Choose a safe anchor, phrase, or scripture. This is going to be with intent. So you're going to have this prepared ahead of time. You can have it in the notes section on your phone. You can do it as a wallpaper on your phone. You can, you can memorize it, right? But with intent, create a safe anchor phrase or scripture. And prepare it ahead of time that you can repeat when triggered. So it can be things like, well, God is near me. He is with me, even here. Or it can say, I am not what happened to me. I am who He says I am. Or it can be, I'm allowed to pause and breathe in this moment. Whatever it is, make sure you have it anchored and anchored deep. So write it on a sticky note, keep it inside your purse, on your phone lock screen, in your note section, wherever. Put it to memory, but have it readily available. Now, I will tell you this. When you are in the early stages of betrayal trauma, you're going to deal with something called trauma brain. And yes, we'll do another podcast on that later. But I can tell you, when you're dealing with trauma brain and you're dealing with the brain fog and the memory issues and the like, you're not going to remember it in the heat of the moment. So having it somewhere tangible, your anchor phrase or scripture tangible, having it written down or put somewhere where you can readily grab it and read it is going to be more beneficial. Now, I really want to give you a bonus one. Yes, I'm going to over deliver like I always do. So this is your bonus tool for grounding. How many of you have ever been inside of a store and you find that you are rocking back and forth, side to side or front to back, and you're doing it subconsciously? Can I see a hand wave? Well, listen, beautiful. If you've ever caught yourself doing that, your body is actually self-regulating. This is what your nervous system is doing. It is actually recognizing that your body is feeling uneasy in that moment, and it's actually seeking to self-regulate itself. It is just part of our makeup. So what you can actually do is in those moments when you find yourself triggered in public, you can actually start to rock back and forth, foot to foot or front to back, but just rock. I know that if I do that, if I find myself being uneasy, stressed, what have you, when I'm in public, when I start to just, in the Hebrew, we call it davening, okay? So when I'm going back and forth and just rocking back and forth while I'm standing in line or standing wherever, all of a sudden I feel comforted and I start to feel more at ease. So this is a great one to use when you're in public, because if you notice, you'll notice this next time you're out in public. You see a lot of men and women doing this, and it is their nervous system's way of self-regulating when they are in public. They just might not realize it, but now, beautiful, you've got a heads up. So you can use yours at any time. That's your bonus. Now, beautiful, if this hit home for you, and you're like, listen, I am so tired of white knuckling my way through triggers. Well, beautiful, I want to personally invite you to my 6-month group coaching program, Roadmap to Recovery. We begin next Monday, July the 7th. And inside of the program, I teach women just like you how to regulate your nervous system, rewire trauma patterns, and finally experience the peace that your mind, body, soul, and spirit have been craving, all through a Christ-centered healing model. Now, spots are limited. I only have a few more available, and registration is open. So if you've been waiting for a sign, well, guess what? This is it. So go below in the show notes and hit the link that says Roadmap to Recovery. It'll take you right there so you can register. Grab your spot while they are available. You have 2 different pricing points. The higher pricing point gives you 4 private coaching sessions with me besides the weekly group coaching program sessions that we have as a group. You will also receive 4 private 60-minute coaching sessions. We call them unstuck sessions, to get you unstuck from the harder things you're dealing with. Those are invaluable. So grab your spot while you can, and I can't wait to lead you through your healing journey. This is the last one of 2025. We won't have another group coaching program open until next year, so don't wait another year to heal. Now, triggers may feel like setbacks to you. I get it. I know, because I dealt with them for years. But they're actually invitations to a deeper healing journey. I always call them indicator lights, just like the lights that are on the dashboard of your vehicle. And this is God's way of giving you an invitation to actually step into a deeper healing that He wants to bring to you. So while they may feel terrible, recognize that they are purposeful. And with the right tools, support, and biblical truth, you don't have to be ruled by fear or flashbacks. You can reclaim your peace even in the most triggering places. So beautiful, thank you for being here with me today, and I pray that today's episode blessed you. You found encouragement, hope, and you found some really good tools to utilize when you are triggered in public. Remember, I'm cheering you on as you rise, and you're rooted in truth. Remember that, and God is grounding you in His grace. So until next time, keep walking toward your healing, because God created you for more. Be blessed. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.